All right, well, welcome to our UND Aerospace Career Speaker Series. We're bringing you episode 4. We have two guests from the National Business Aviation Association, Christy Ivy and Joe D'Amato. Very excited to have you ladies with us this evening. And they're going to be talking about a lot of the exciting aspects to a career in corporate aviation or business aviation, as well as sharing with a lot of great tools for U.S. students to take advantage of to learn more about this exciting side of the aviation industry. So with that, I think I'll pass it over to you, Christy and Joe.
Hi, everyone. We're so glad that you are having us here tonight. We're so thankful to be here tonight, and we're just excited to connect with all of you. I know Joe spoke, and I assisted in the background with a spring event that we did, and we've got some great updates to what we've presented before. So if those of you were not on that, we've got a lot of stuff that you can tag into. And if Dr. Burke could start the video, unless Joe, you want to say anything before we kick off the video?
No, we'll talk later. I think the video is a great way to get started. Hi, everybody.
We've got a careers video right now, so enjoy. And I think we might need sound on that.
Taste cutting-edge industry, high-tech and people-oriented, hands-on and all business. Your future could be a job in business aviation. From the busiest airports to small rural airstrips, business aviation is just-in-time flexible travel. Small businesses to the world's biggest companies. It's the smallest two-seater airplanes to intercontinental jets, factories and repair stations, hangars and offices. There are many different jobs in business aviation, probably more than you can imagine. This exciting industry needs people to build, maintain, dispatch, and fly aircraft to workplaces around the globe. Pilots go to work at 40,000 feet. In business aviation, you'll plan new routes, go new places, and you'll get to know the passengers and co-pilots you fly with.
We don't have a normal milk run. We'll run to a lot of diverse airports around the country, airports that airline service typically doesn't get into.
Keeping everyone flying is the maintenance technician's job. As a business aircraft technician, you'll work on the industry's latest technology and push forward innovation.
We also put a lot of emphasis on who's actually working on our airplanes and how much ownership do they have, how engaged are they. So we do everything ourselves. These are our airplanes. So my guys see the airplane every day, day in and day out.
Do you solve problems quickly? Skilled at long-term planning? You could be a business aircraft scheduler or dispatcher.
Very important as a scheduler or dispatcher to help the department, with all the knowledge you can and information about the fuel prices, the FBO prices, and the landing fee, stuff like that.
In flight, the cabin crew keeps the passengers safe. At the home base, directors work on the company's strategy and run the flight department like the business itself.
If you want to be part of a smaller organization where you can make more of an impact, business aviation is really, a career you should look at.
I like the fact that it's never the same. Every day is different. Other days there are challenges that you are excited to sink your teeth into.
In business aviation, you'll take on real responsibilities, go on adventures, build new skills. But how do you get into this industry? Where do you start?
I just thought, I'm a college kid, planning my future. I don't really know what that looks like. Am I going to flight instruct? Am I going to go to the airlines? What's out there?
Schools across the country have aviation programs, leading to endless opportunities.
Just a ton of different companies who come in and want to recruit mechanics, pilots, management personnel.
If there's something that's holding you back to get into aviation, overcome it. I would say if it's the financial route, apply for scholarships. And business aviation is where you're constantly having to stay on your toes. You're going to new locations, and it's more reliant on you knowing your information, you being the best form of a pilot you possibly can be.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I love the job. I've had an opportunity to go to a lot of different places, see a lot of different things so far, and I'm looking forward to more.
Chances are there's a business aviation scholarship for you. And many operators have internships for pilots and technicians.
there are a lot of opportunities in business aviation, and we'd like to show you what some of those are.
Your career in business aviation could start today.
Yay. Well, what a great video. We love seeing that every single time. You see the smile on Joe's face and on mine.
Never gets old.
It never gets old. And Micah, we see you. Thank you for your comment. And we're exactly where we want to be here today as well. So I'm going to switch over to start sharing my screen, but we're going to do things a little bit differently tonight. We're not going to death by PowerPoint this evening. We're going to give you some fun kind of walkthroughs and tools to talk about what you guys can do to start getting more and more out of an alternate career path option in business aviation, just to plant a seed in your brains and give you the tools and resources and networks to start connecting to so that you can find out if this is the career path for you. So while I start to bring up my screen, I'm going to ask Joe to talk a little bit about how did you get into business aviation? Tell us about your history.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Joe D'Amato here from NBAA. I am currently our Vice President of Educational Strategy and Workforce Development. And I'm coming to you live from South New Jersey. I'm not sure how many of you might be from the East Coast, but we're right outside of Philadelphia. PHL would be the airport I travel out of. And I'm excited to be here. I wanted to be in aviation since I was 8 years old. I learned how to fly in high school, probably like some of you. I kept asking until my parents finally found a place for me to take lessons that turned out to only be about 5 miles down the road from where I grew up. Oh, somebody from Blackwood. Hi, Jacob. We're neighbors. That's awesome. And so Jacob knows this. In New Jersey, you have to be 17 years old to get your driver's license. But we all know you can be 16 and soloing an airplane. So and Nicholas also from New Jersey. This is awesome. I didn't realize this was an East Coast stacked Zoom tonight. So, I would have to get a ride. My parents would have to drive me to the airport so then I could take an airplane on my cross-country flight. So just kind of a fun origin story for me. I'm a Florida Tech grad. I went down to Melbourne and did my major in aviation management with flight. I did all of my ratings other than my private pilot's license, which I went to school with at FIT and was a flight instructor there as well. My only goal, and it's a noble goal, was to be a United Airlines pilot. I was a United Airlines intern when I was an undergrad in support of that goal. And at the time that I graduated, jobs were scarce. And it was great to have the goal and the plan, but it became apparent that I needed to understand that there can be multiple parallel routes you can take, and sometimes to multiple goals. And business aviation wasn't something we talked a lot about in my undergrad program. Our professors were either from the military or the 121 world, and most of the people who graduated ahead of me were military or went 121. But I was fortunate that after graduation, I ended up in the Ohio area, and a company called Executive Jet Management hired me to be a scheduler, a dispatcher. That is a non-flying role that I was well suited for since I had about 1,000 hours of flight time, and had done that as part of my college job as well. When I wasn't flight instructing, I was working dispatch at the flight line. And that turned into the opportunities. It turned into opportunities that never allowed me to revisit what plan A had been. And so I always say it's accidental that I ended up in business aviation, and also that I ended up taking a non-flying role that I've now been doing non-flying role since 1998. At the same time, I really wish my origin story, if I could change one thing, it would be instead of accidentally falling into business aviation, I really wish I could say I intentionally steered myself towards business aviation. So if I have a goal here talking to you tonight, it would be for you to have a few parallel paths that it's okay to have your primary goal being a 121 airline captain. I am married to a 121 airline captain, but at the same time, it's okay to embrace those left turns in life and to keep your ears and eyes open for opportunities and conversations you can be a part of that might also let you think about things other than what the ultimate goal is. And you might surprise yourself, which has certainly happened with me. So a little bit about my origin story, and I know Christy is eager to share hers also.
Oh, and I love Joe's story. I also love how she says intentionally fall into business aviation, because those resources weren't as available back in our day for business aviation out there. Some were, but the knowledge, the technology to find information at our fingertips, you have a great opportunity here to soak up as much knowledge and excitement as you possibly want to. So following in Joe's footsteps, I'd like to see the chat panel light up with where everybody is from. It looks like we've got quite a few participants. So I'd like to see where you're all from. So go ahead and type that in so we can kind of get an idea later on of where to steer you to kind of participate in some grassroots opportunities. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia originally. I grew up in an airline family as a lot of you probably have as well. Oh, hi, Elena. It's good to see your name up there. We love Elena.
I'm going to cut in and just say, hi, Elena.
Hi, Elena. She's a superstar in our world. And we're, I grew up in a Delta family. My dad was not flying, but I definitely appreciated all that I could in airline benefits and everything I could with Delta Airlines. And I knew, because of all that I learned and all that I soaked up as a kid, that I wanted to be involved in aviation in some capacity. So I did start flying when I was 16 years old. And then I ended up going to Auburn University, represent Auburn Aviation here, Auburn's aviation degree program. And actually what's really interesting, I did the aviation management degree path, and I kept flying, but I said I really want to do something on the business side of things. And we had an elective course called Business and Corporate Aviation that they had, I think, just started that particular year. And I was very fortunate enough to sign up for it, and we visited different flight departments around the region from small to large, and it certainly piqued my interest as a career path option. That's everybody that I talked to as I was a senior saying, how do I get involved in this, was talk to folks at NBAA. Do you know NBAA? So I ended up as a senior flying up to Washington, D.C. using my airline passes and visiting with some of the NBA staffers at the time. And, they said, well, what exactly do you want to do? And at that time, I wasn't planning to be a flying NBA or business aviation professional. So what is out there for non-flying? There is a lot out there for non-flying. And right now there's a whole lot of resources that tell you what's out there. Oh my goodness, we have somebody from Germany as well. That's great. So I ended up working for a Part 91 flight department right after I graduated from Auburn. I worked for Home Depot's flight department, and I was there for 9 years, and I grew with the company, and I managed their flight operations side of things, which is your scheduling and dispatching and some administrative and some other things. I was in charge of crew scheduling and some other fun things, and it was such a wonderful opportunity. I was very fortunate to have that as a stepping off point. During that time, I volunteered for one of NBAA's standing committees, and that's how I met Mrs. D'Amato. She was the NBA staff liaison to the NBA Schedulers and Dispatchers Committee at the time, and she became the liaison the same year that I became chair of that volunteer committee. So the one thing I will tell you is participate, engage, volunteer, no matter what your career path is just soak up all the knowledge you possibly can. So because of that volunteer opportunity, I was able to find out about an NBA position that opened up and I knew I wanted to live in the Northwest. I'm coming to you right now from Livingston, Montana. So not too awful far from all of you, but just a little further west on I-90. And I just am excited to be one of NBAA's 5 regional reps, and I have 9 states that I represent for NBA, and we'll talk a little bit about our job functions in a bit. So I'm going to kind of rewind a little bit, Joe, unless you want to step in, and we're going to talk a little bit about the web page. Hopefully everybody's able to see this. I get a nod from Joe, so yes. And while we're doing that, and I thank you for telling us where you're from. I love it. There's a Scranton in there, Joe.
Yeah, also close. That's great. We've got
I love it. We've got a Baltimore, so hopefully when you go home, you'll engage with our folks in DC once everybody's able to see each other in person again. But we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA website and a little bit about what NBAA is itself. So we got Fargo Jet Center representing. Hopefully Darren's behind the camera there. All right. So Joe, tell us a little about who is NBAA? Who are we?
Who is NBAA? So Christy brought you to this website because really all of your answers can be found here. This is a pretty spectacular and robust site. National Business Aviation Association. We were founded in 1947. I didn't have to see that on the side to know that. We're coming close to another milestone anniversary. And our mission is to help business aviation thrive in the United States and around the world. And business aviation can be defined by many different types of aircraft, many different types of missions, and many different types of support roles to help support those who own or operate aircraft in support of their business. So a great example that Christy used is that she used to work for the Home Depot. The Home Depot is obviously not in the aviation business, but they use their aircraft to help further their business goals and the mission of Home Depot. And so it's really cool that you could be a part of a flight department of a brand that you're a fan of or that you support. And to be part of something that is more than just the mission, if you're a pilot, of flying from A to B, but that the mission you are fulfilling, that the employees who are using that aircraft to get from A to B are doing it in furtherance of the success of your business, of Home Depot in this example. So the fact book will give you, hint, hint, so many good statistics and facts that as soon as you're assigned a what is business aviation assignments or anything that involves statistics, I would start right here from the website and grab this fact book. Christy,
Absolutely.
And we have a question. Oh, we have a question. Home Depot has pilots. So look, why don't you talk about that?
They do. And I've been with NBAA for almost 15 years now. So I was with Home Depot for about 9 years. When I left, there were, I believe, 17 pilots. Somebody asked me earlier today, I did another classroom drop-in at Rocky Mountain College in Billings, Montana. And somebody said, well, what's the benefit of flying for a Part 91 flight department over the airlines? All of them have their own benefits. All of them have preferences. And one of the great benefits of flying Part 91 for a company is you get the same benefits as those in that company. So when I worked for Home Depot, I was a Home Depot employee. You know, things like stock options or, you know, certain benefits that the entire, you know, company gets go to the folks that work in the flight department. And yes, in that flight department, there were pilots, there were flight maintenance technicians, there were schedulers and dispatchers, there were administrative professionals, line service technicians, we had accounting staff. So it is one of your larger Part 91 flight departments. Not all of our members are that big. We have a great variety of different types of members that Joe and I will get into here. And one is the Part 91 flight department. So one of the things that I like to tell students is if business aviation is something that you're interested in getting into, You know, I think Warren Buffett would say something like he wouldn't invest in a company unless he really believed in that company's values and the opportunities for success with that company. I would say do the same exact thing with your career. If there's a brand that you have started to learn more and more about and get more information on, it's up to you, of course, to do that homework. But let's say Nike is a brand that you support, you like what they do, you hear that they have a really good company culture, you like the things that they sponsor or don't sponsor or whatever. We'll start to look into that company, and guess what? Nike also has a corporate flight department in Hillsboro, Oregon. Or if there's a location that you simply want to eventually be, like I did, I wanted to be in Montana and I finally am, you know, then find the companies in business aviation. And, you know, UND is a member of NBAA, but we are encouraging you, and we'll get into that in a little bit, to join as student members for $25. And one of the benefits of being a student member of NBAA is you would have access to our member directory, which we'll go and look at that in a bit. So then you would have access to contact folks from within these flight departments and say, hey, you know, send them an email and say, hey, can I give you a call next week and pick your brain about what I should be doing now to perhaps be eligible for applying for an open position that you might have when I graduate. So the one great thing about business aviation is we're all very passionate about talking about our career path, and every single person that Joe and I talk to in this industry has a very curved career path, just like we both just talked about. So getting to a little bit of the numbers, and we won't bore you too much because we're pointing you in the direction to be able to read this information yourself, but some of the positive stories: business aviation does contribute $150 billion to the US economic output and employs more than 1.2 million people. And I'll point out something on the right-hand side about we can reach 10 times the number of US airports than the airlines do. So we're really able to get in and have our companies use their business aircraft as a tool. And they're able to do that because of the flexibility, because of the variety of airports they're able to go to, and multiple stops in a day and getting back home at night in a safe and secure manner that they would not be able to do a particular mission on the airline. So we've got a lot of different reasons why people use business aviation. But Joe, anything else on this page that you want to point out?
No, I just always think that this makes really great conversation. I mean, here's an example. Hopefully you'll be with family at the holidays, and they're probably pretty familiar with what they hear on the news and what they know about the airlines. So look at this, this fact over here. Business aviation reaches 10 times the number of airports, 5,000 public use airports versus the fact that there's only about 70 major airports, and I think about 600 airports total that 121 operators can use. And then that sparks a conversation. Try to name some, like the fact that here by me, there's the Flying W, November 14, there's South Jersey Regional, there's so many airports that you don't realize are right in your backyard, and you might spark somebody else's interest to get involved with their own local airport community. But find a fun fact and wow your family when you go home at Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. And here's another publication for those of you that might be interested in going into an airport career, or if you decide to go and fly or be a dispatcher or work for an FBO. Here's a great tool that you can use, this Airport's Handbook. And we use that for folks to be able to advocate for their local airport. And it provides the information, again, like Joe said, an FBO is a fixed base operation.
Can you name one?
Can we name one locally that may participate in UND? I love it. We're glad that you guys have these connections with a lot of our members, and so and UND has been fabulous about connecting with the right entities to make sure that they're bringing you the information and the networking within the industry, especially locally. So anything else on this page, Joe, before I move along?
Now, I would just say, you are in research mode for the next 4 years. I hope that you're having fun in your aviation classes, but also you are in school. Use this site as a place to gather data and to be able to cite as a resource. We update our resources frequently, and we've got a lot of number geeks that want to make sure they get this information right. So I just think this is hopefully going to be a page that you'll tab, save, and come back to often during your 4 years at school.
So while I'm talking about advocacy, one of the other web pages that you can go to, which we'll go right here, is noplainnogain.org. And each of the things that Joe and I talk about this evening has a social media presence as well. And so whether it's following Fargo Jet Center on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter, following No Plane, No Gain, following NBAA, and we'll talk about YoPros and some other places that you could follow. Now's the time to start doing that, because there you're going to be able to connect and see the information about what your career might look like. So this is some of the other factoids that Joe and I have talked about, and you'll see how how many resources are here for you. And there's so many of these. We partnered with GAMA, the General Aviation Manufacturers Association, years ago to put this initiative together. And a lot of the things that we talked about from the fact book are here. A single business aircraft can bring an airport and its community $2.5 million in economic benefit. That's huge. And it's not just flying into the airport and then departing. It's our members are flying into airports, spending money on fuel, spending money on food, overnight lodging, rental cars. They're adding back to that community. So having an airport in a community is a very good thing, and we need to get that word out there. So, Joe, anything on the No Plane, No Gain?
I love this. So Christy and I are, by the way, we're working on trying to get a podcast here. So I love that you keep volleying it over to me for my comments. This is fun. Yeah, so I loved in the video, it was an antiquated term, but you heard one of the directors of aviation talk about how they don't do a normal milk run. You can Google it. It is an aviation term. It actually has roots in World War II, and I think it meant flying a route where you didn't expect to encounter a lot of enemy pushback. But you could think of it as a milk run now. Maybe might be scheduled airline service to and from A and B on repeat in perpetuity. What's really cool about what Christy's talking about is we drop into a lot of communities and a lot of community airports, and the businesses are often traveling there because they're invested in those communities beyond the flight itself, looking to expand in those areas, to be a customer or client of another business in that area. So I just love, if you think of the airplanes creating a zigzag pattern all around the US, all the different places they're going, you would see how much overlap there is with business aviation. And I would love to know all the stories behind all of these community interactions. So I love this page because it really makes me feel the community, the human part of business aviation and its impact.
Yeah, I was just scrolling through some of the BizAvWorks resources, and this is a great hashtag. If you see anything at your local airport that you want to share, a great photo, put it up there and then use the BizAvWorks hashtag, because these are people, earning a living in business aviation. And you'll see if you kind of hover over the page, you can share our infographics on your Twitter account or your Facebook account. And we encourage you to do that. Engage. We'd love to see you out there. There's some great videos that some media resources and videos. If you start to look at those facts about business aviation, there's some case studies about I think Hormel Foods is on here locally, and some other really great upper Midwest companies that have provided, let us come into their hangars and let us get on their aircraft and meet their people. So I encourage you to go on the noplainnogain.org, follow them, like I said, on social media. So back to our main web page, and I think we're ready to maybe go to the For Students page, Joe, if you think so.
Yeah, let's hop over to for students. We created this page specifically for you, for students. We want to make sure that there is a landing place for you, or if you know someone who's interested in aviation and they don't know where to start. This is also ideal for teachers or parents or guidance counselors to get some more information. This is where you'll find that video that we watched. It's linked here from where we have it on YouTube. Information about joining NBAA as a student for that annual dues of $25. This book here, or PDF rather, Consider a Career in Business Aviation, has a lot of the things that we want to make sure you consider as you're starting a business aviation inquiry. Are there scholarships available to you? Can you find a mentor? Are there events in your area that you might be able to attend? What about internship opportunities that could, of course, lead to job opportunities? And really what not only business aviation is about, but I think just about being a professional, an adult professional, is that networking. The fact that we thrive on our interpersonal connections. And aviation is not a career where you keep your head down and you don't interact with people. It is about these human personal connections that you're making. And in business aviation, it's even more so. So practice that networking every chance you get. This page is a great place to get started. Some of the basic facts about business aviation are here. And, you know, Christy and I are careful to not only talk about the flying jobs. There are obviously, I think you're being steeped in that the same way we were in our undergrad studies. We appreciate, we know the paths you can take to become maintenance technicians as well. But then when we talk about some of the roles that do not require FAA certification, we're talking about so many other careers that are listed there. And we want to try to find you, if you're interested, a mentor who can talk to you about what they do in their non-flying or non-technician roles. I think that's really exciting. This is, I just love this graphic. I mean, it's just so important to demonstrate not only the diversity of jobs that are available and the numerous career paths I mentioned that you can take, but also how diverse our industry is. And we talk so often about the importance of diversity of thought. We do not want everybody thinking exactly like everybody else. We know that people are influenced by their own experiences, and that's the value they bring to their careers. Their experience is going to impact how they see a situation or solve a problem or work on a team. And so as much as this shows the diversity of jobs that are available, it also makes me think of diversity of thought and how important it is to realize there's so much more that goes into having a successful flight department than just having great pilots or great maintenance technicians, but it really is a team that you're joining, and you're going to be part of being part of a successful mission execution every day. I don't know why I keep using such big words. I'm going to trip on them.
Well, to piggyback on that, Joe, I think what I love everything you just said and agree with it. It also makes me think of the fact that when you are part of a FBO or a flight department or an international handling organization or a fuel company, there's lots of opportunities within the industry to wear multiple hats, to pursue thought development, as Joe was talking about, in areas that might pique your interest, i.e. you might be a scheduler dispatcher for a Part 91 flight department and say, gosh, you know, I really like the law. I want to learn a little bit more about what I could do perhaps to become an attorney. And can I apply that to business aviation as well? Absolutely. We have so many of our members that are business aviation attorneys, either aircraft acquisitions or aviation tax attorneys, and they're all under business aviation careers. And I love that. If marketing is something that piques your interest, we have a lot of great marketing opportunities. Talk to the folks at Fargo Jet Center about marketing. They are the experts at that. They're great. They set the bar. And there's just so many opportunities. And when you work within a flight department, you're going to wear a lot of hats anyway. You're not just going to accept a flight plan if you're a pilot and go on your way and not do anything else. You might be tasked with being the safety manager for that flight department. You might be in charge of overall security missions and partnering with corporate security on making sure that all passengers and crew are safe internationally and domestically on these flights. So lots of things you can do. So I'll keep scrolling here, but I love this infographic as well, Joe. Good job.
And let me remind people, attendees, go ahead and submit your questions in the Q&A. We'll answer them as we see them come. But I think I'd love for you to also participate in the chat. I'm really interested in, are you volunteering on campus, and what group or groups might you be involved with as a volunteer on or off campus? And do you have a leadership role, or do you aspire to be a leader of any of those volunteer organizations? It could be, excuse me. For me, we had Alpha Eta Rho at Florida Tech. We had the flight team. We had student government. We didn't have a Women in Aviation chapter just yet. It just hadn't made its way to college campuses yet. But now I know there's Women in Aviation chapters and NGPA and OBAP. There's so many great ways you can get involved. So I would say aviation related or volunteering in general. And that's because you're building a resume similarly to what you were doing in high school for your college applications. You wanted to show how well-rounded you were and what were you doing in addition to your academics to really make your mark in business aviation. Again, you want to think outside of just the company who's employing you. So Christy talked about when she was at the Home Depot, they did not require her to go and become a volunteer, but she wanted to elevate her professional development and her involvement and be able to meet other schedulers and dispatchers in the industry outside of her own flight department. And that led for her to become a member of the Schedulers and Dispatchers Committee. And within a few years, she was the chairwoman of the Schedulers and Dispatchers Committee, representing Home Depot. And the networking and the professional development and what it also did to elevate Christy's career was important. And Christy, you've made so many connections in the last 20 years just as a result of your volunteerism. Do you want to talk about your thoughts or how important volunteering has been to you and the growth of your career?
Absolutely. You don't know, you walk into you might raise your hand to say, I'd like to learn more about that, or somebody recommends you, which is what happened to me. The owner of an FBO chain in Hawaii who's one of our, Joe and my mentors. She happened to like the way that, and this will age me, but like the way that I would fax our
what's that?
What's a fax machine? Our trip plan to her FBO, and these were all my requests. And she was very interested in how organized I was in every single thing and detail oriented I was. And she called me up one day and said, "Hey, would you ever consider being on the NBA Schedulers and Dispatchers Committee?" Because she was phasing out at the time and wanted to recommend somebody, and she ended up recommending me. I was only year 2, I think, in my career. I was green still, very green. And I said, well, gosh, it would help me meet some more folks at least and find out and benchmark and how everybody does things. So I was really nervous. And of course, maybe the first few meetings, I was incredibly quiet because I was just soaking up all the knowledge from the experienced people. And that's the way you do it. You're not intended to come and lead the meeting on your first volunteer opportunity. So if there's a deer in headlights mentality out there of, I really don't, I'm not a public speaker, I'm nervous about this, please go ahead and volunteer. And there's always on a certain committee, different subcommittees that will feed into your strengths. And if it's something that feeds into your, I won't say weaknesses, maybe opportunities for growth, then that's a challenge to your development as well. And when you're confident enough to tackle some of those, that's a great opportunity. So I would say definitely volunteer both on a national scale or locally. We've got a great local volunteer story here in the comments. I would like to, we're going to dig into the student edition of the Insider, but I want to see in the chat, please, for those of you that are students, what is your career goal in 3 words or less? What do you want to do? And don't worry, we love our airline friends. So if you say airline pilot, that's okay. We are very, very supportive of that.
That's great. I love that you limited them to 3 words or less. It seems a little arbitrary, but fly big planes. Let's see, air traffic control, flight test engineer, push pilot, work at Delta, awesome. Business corporate pilot, airline. Oh, okay. There's some great things here. This is awesome.
What's really cool is it's not an either or scenario. It's, for us, it's an and. And even if you say, right now, I'd like to fly for the airlines and go that path, fly and ski. I love it, Micah. You need to get out here to Montana and do a lot of that. So you can continue your airline career and knowledge growth, but also keep up with what's going on with business aviation. And if something opens up that you want to jump over, there's nothing holding you back from that. So, and vice versa. Yeah. So I'm going to open up the student magazine.
I love this. Yes, I love this issue. This is something that we have put out the last 2 years. So NBAA does have its own magazine, Business Aviation Insider. But 2 years ago, in conjunction with our annual Careers in Business Aviation Day, we launched the student edition of our magazine. And it is written by your peers for you. So first person articles in a lot of places, or written by college students who will talk about their internships and a lot of examples or scholarship opportunities that they've had. But this is to give you a glimpse of what your peers are finding in business aviation. This is good through the end of this year, although it's the content really doesn't ever expire. So I encourage you to go back and look at the 2018-2019 edition as well. And if you have a great story or something you want to share for our 2021 edition that will likely come out in October in conjunction with our big convention and exhibition in Las Vegas next fall, let us know. You can let your instructor know, or get a note to Christy and I. You can connect with both of us on LinkedIn. But oh look, I'm in this one. But we would love to have you submit some ideas, or even offer to write some of the stories for us. That would be fantastic. And your own Elena Hall, who has roots at Fargo Jet Center and is an undergrad at UND, she is in, I thought she was in this issue, but if not, then she was in the other issue.
Elena might have to pop in here and remind us as well, but I want to say this, and this is that infographic as well. She thinks it was 2018, 2019. So I can show that in just a second as well. I want to say I thought she was in maybe one of our main BAIs that just had a student article in it. So
She was recently in one of our main BEIs that had a student article in it. And also your student colleague, she spent time with us at the convention last year. I feel like I saw her trying to be in every place she could at once. Really an example of students attending our events, whether she was representing the company that she had just interned for over the summer, or the company she's connected to because of family members at Fargo Jet Center, or just because she's made so many good connections in business aviation. I would think that she set an excellent example of networking. And I think at some point she got a picture of herself with Ed Bolin, who's the president of NBAA, and Magic Johnson, all in the same picture, because she was right place, right time, and we got her in that picture.
I will endeavor to find that article so that we can highlight Elena here in just a second. But all of this, I just want to remind everybody, nbaa.org, and it's all you have to do is /students. And all of this is in here. I encourage you to download the magazine, read it on your own time. look at these PDFs that are available. There's posters that you can download as well and print out for bulletin boards. Joe talked a little bit about our mentoring network.
We strongly encourage you to get involved. I think we just made a record number of matches just in the last month or so. I mean, in the hundreds, I think close to 400 matches. So the 2020-2021 window has closed. Go ahead and subscribe to be informed when the 2021-22 window opens. They are doing our mentoring program is set up for formal intersex that we are helping to create, and then also a lot of informal between you and the mentor who's been assigned to you. But I can't think of a reason why you wouldn't want to take advantage of this opportunity. Even if your ultimate goal doesn't lie in business aviation, this is a great opportunity to try on this career and learn from somebody who's made their career in business aviation and find out if it's something that is for you.
Absolutely. Like Joe just said, the opportunity for this fall just closed, but you saw the form that I popped up, and that's how you sign up. In addition to following us on social media, you'll see it all posted there. If also you receive our newsletter, we make it very, we kind of peel the onion where we'll get the information out to you somehow. So follow us on lots of different, but I encourage you not only to be a mentee now and in maybe your first year or two of your career, but it's never too early to start being a mentor to somebody else as well. So you could mentor younger students right now, as you probably are doing in your student clubs or flying team, and just continue to do that as you jump into your career. But there's a two-way street there. All the time. I still have mentors, and I'm mentoring folks, and Joe is one of my mentors. You know,
but you're one of mine. So all joking aside, we believe strongly in lateral mentoring as well. So there's this really great traditional concept of mentoring, and find someone who you might consider, you know, a veteran in the industry compared to you, and they can help you on that journey because they've been there. I have vertical mentors, and I mentor vertically as well, but I strongly believe in the value of your peer group being mentors for you. So this could be people that you're in school with now that you'll be surprised you're going to be connected to for the rest of your careers, and you're going to use each other as a peer mentor group pretty often. And Christy, I think it's been working well for us in our circle of friends and colleagues.
Yes, Darren Hall is one of our mentors as well.
I see a good question here. Does the NBA website provide help in finding internships too? It does. So really, we have a jobs board, and Christy might pop that up really quickly. I don't think there's any intern examples up there right now, but on our jobs board, you would be able to find not only open positions for employment, but we encourage our members to share internship positions as well. So again, while I don't think there are any internship positions here, just look right here. We've got a pretty good grab bag of different positions that are available. And
absolutely, great question. I will say, visit this often so that you see these are just the featured ones. I could click on view all and see what happens, but these are just the featured ones around the country, and you'll see it. If you click on it, there's a lot more description. And it is not just pilots, charter sales manager, remote, flexible, manager.
All jobs that are available. Absolutely. These are our members posting jobs on our jobs board.
And when you are ready, if you see in the top right, you'll be able to sign up as somebody seeking a job and download your resume or upload your resume. And this is just one of the resources for you, but it's just jobs.nba.org. It's also on that student page as well. I would encourage you to do that. We also have a page for our companies. We are encouraging our companies to have, if they don't already have an internship program. So again, if there's a company that you're close to or interested in, and start talking to anybody in that flight department. And one of the first questions is, hey, do you do an internship program? And if the answer is no, well, here's some resources. Send them this page about internships, and there's a video for them, and some great resources on how to start an internship program within their flight department, so they don't have to reinvent the wheel.
You can even send them directly to us, and we will walk that person through how they can get this guide and find someone, a mentor from another flight department who's built a successful internship program, or any company that has a successful internship program that might want to share their secrets to success.
Yep, absolutely. Great question so far. Awesome. Thank you so much. Let's see. I wanted to make sure we got to the 40 under 40 and the YoPro. So I'm going to open up NBA YoPro, and then I also have the 40 under 40 ready to go for you, Joe, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
I do. This is some of my favorite stuff. We have many amazing young professionals who work at NBAA. And 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, one of those young professionals went to one of our large events, the annual convention and exhibition, and really didn't see networking opportunities that existed for younger professionals attending. It seemed like there were a lot of events that were specific to people who already knew a lot of people and were veterans in our industry. And just through observing it and taking some initiative, pointing out something that worked well, they started a grassroots effort inside NBAA to start a YoPro Council. And they were able to expand it from within our association externally to recruiting other young professionals in business aviation to apply to the council. And they now have this wonderful, very robust YoPro Council who are learning how to be advocates politically in their own areas. We're teaching them how to get involved and engage to help promote general aviation at a local or regional level, and to understand how they can make a difference nationally as well. So that community investment is important. And we're also recognizing the top of the top, the best of the best. And so this was our 3rd year honoring a class of 40 under 40 recipients. Last week, we had an incredible gala event via technology, virtual event, and it should be here on this page, but please, if you do something, there it is, view the recorded 2020 Business Aviation Top 40 Under 40 Award Show. It was fantastic. If you have a little bit less than an hour, I think about 40 minutes or so free for the 40 Under 40 Award Show. These are last week's honorees. This is the class of 2020 40 Under 40s, our YoPros. These are emerging leaders, current leaders in our world. If you click on any of these, click on my friend Tracy, because I just adore her, from Women in Corporate Aviation. You can now learn more about Tracy and why she was honored, but also look at that connect on LinkedIn. Christy, is that what your crazy zigzagging was supposed to tell me?
You can read my life.
All 40 of these honorees want to connect with you on LinkedIn. And they were just honored last Wednesday. So you've got a great in to go ahead and click that connect button on any of these individuals who you think you'd like to learn more about what they do, how they might want to be a mentor to you, or just to provide some great guidance. Your great in is, congratulations. I see you were honored last week by NBAA as a 40 under 40. I'd love to connect with you. I'm a student at. So consider this. They each all recorded their own video as well that we didn't have enough time in the gala to get to all 40 people's videos. But if you spend some time here, you'll be able to learn more about all of them. But even Tracy here, she has a pretty incredible origin story. And all of the people here are just fantastic. And I'd love to think that you're looking at this and thinking, how can I be a top 40 under 40 in business aviation one day? And if that's the case, then you've taken certainly an important step tonight just in being part of this Zoom.
Absolutely. I think we've got probably about 5 minutes left. And so, Joe, what else would you like me to click on while we're here under 40? I would definitely encourage everybody to click on these as well as connect with Joe and myself on LinkedIn also. We'd love to meet you and see you and answer any more questions that you have. Let's see here.
The only thing I ask when you make a LinkedIn connection is tell us why we're connected. So
right.
Remind us that we spent time together on this UND Zoom. Make the connection personal. And Christy, maybe you want to go just to VBase because that's something exciting coming up. We don't have any in-person events remaining in 2020, but last week we announced a pretty exciting new virtual event, VBase virtual event coming December 2nd and 3rd. This would be a great time to become a student member because members can attend VBase for free. And it is like, I encourage you to go back tonight and watch the 2.5 minute video on what VBase will be. It's like no other virtual event that exists. This cool little video will show you the avatar walking around and engaging and interacting with the booths. Filling your virtual goodie bag with information from the booths that you go and get a closer look at that, products you might be interested in. Maybe you have a favorite airplane and you want to go and see if if that manufacturer is going to be at VBase and you want to take some virtual tours of the aircraft. It's going to be really exciting. So this is a project that we're working on pretty closely right now, all hands on deck at NBAA. And you could say, what does this have to do with aviation, Joe? Your major is aviation management with flight, and you said your title was educational strategy and workforce development. So you're helping to put together an event? Yes. So that's the really cool thing about business aviation is you get to be involved in so many more things than just your area of study or your major, and I love it for that specific reason.
Okay, we have a quick question. When picking a mentor, what kind of things should students be looking for, Joe?
Good idea. Well, if you'd use our mentoring program, you're going to be matched based on an inventory that you fill out and mentors fill out. So hopefully your match will be made in the software algorithm really well. But if you're not using technology to find a mentor, I think that aligning values is really important. Before you ask somebody to be your mentor, make sure this is someone that you've had a chance to interact with enough that you feel like their values match your values. For example, if you value having your weeknights free to study, and you've made it pretty clear that every night from 7 to 9 p.m. you're in the library because your number one priority is preparing yourself for the next day, and the mentor doesn't get that at all and wants to always use that time to take you off track, that may not be a value alignment for you. That's a pretty tame example, I know, but find somebody that you click with. Remember, you're not trying to find a friend. You're not trying to find someone who's going to get you a job. That's not the point. You're trying to find someone who is going to help guide you with advice and some friendly, constructive feedback to help you continue to evolve and grow. And so, you want to be able to handle sometimes hard truths from them, but feel like you're in a safe environment where you can hear that and process it and take it to the next productive step. Christy, what do you think?
Well, great answer to that. In the short time that we have left, I wanted to, and I'm going to send again the link to your student page. So, and that's a clickable link. That's what I'll leave you with, but I want you to explore the website. And if you do decide to join as a student member, you have access to our member directory, which I think is one of the most valuable benefits of being a member. So I just typed in one of our members, and our members have the option to show themselves or not. And here's our friends at Fargo Jet Center. And so guess what? You can find their website, you can find their names. gosh, you know, I keep hearing this Darren Hall name. What happens if I click on his name? Well, there's his email address. I'd like to pick his brain about marketing in an FBO and find out what is an FBO. So there's lots of opportunities for you to connect and network with folks that could counsel you on your career path. So I see 6 p.m. Central, and Dr. Burke is back. I think we've got the hook, but I hope this at least started to pique your interest in a career path in business aviation. Thank you so much for having us. We're so excited to be here.
Thank you. This was great and super fun. And I do hope you connect with us on LinkedIn and we hear from you.
And again, I want to thank you ladies so much for taking the time this evening, and also thank you to NBAA for all these amazing, great resources for students, especially starting to aspire in that career of business aviation. It's just amazing what you have available on your website and free for access. So we'll make sure when we upload this webinar that we'll include some of these links in that description and get that information out to students. So again, thank you so much for joining us this evening and talking about all the exciting opportunities. And I look forward to joining the virtual base in December. It should be a lot of great information and a lot of good learning to have happen.
Good. And I see Fargo Jet Center is asking, is this recorded? I think I've seen the recording button this whole time. So you'll be sharing this?
Yep, so this is along with all of our career speaker series, and we put it up on our YouTube website, our UND Aerospace YouTube, but we'll make sure to send out a link as well to Fargo Jet Center so that they can get that and share it. So again, thank you. A lot of great information, a lot of great things to think about during this time.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.